Hello, everybody. On behalf of my brothers and sisters, I would just like to say how grateful and thankful we are for the Marquette family and for Rhonda and Jeff and Dr. Hankins. There's been so much love and support coming from this community that Carl was in, that I know why he loved you guys, because you have shown us so much love, and there's no way that we could ever repay you. But we're going to miss him. He's going to miss us. He's going to miss you guys so much. He spent a lot of time at Marquette, and he did love what he did. He loved his family. He loved his friends. And we just want to say thank you so much for honoring our brother today. Thanks.
So it's always so weird to call him Carl because he's always Mr. Hudson to me. And I just love him so much. He is a true piece of my heart. My family loves him as well, and I'm just so thankful that I had the opportunity to work with him. We're starting our 5th year together, and my first day with him was actually on his birthday, and it was pretty exciting. So we always get to celebrate our birthday, and we do celebrate our working anniversary together. And we were always really good to each other with gifts and snacks and food, and he always talked about having his rich uncle, which really was just him, but he always did thoughtful things, like he'd bring in lottery tickets, and we always talked about where we would go if we won the lottery. So my husband and I always said Italy. So every time he talks about lottery tickets or in the lottery pool, he would tell everybody how we were all going to go to Italy because that's where I wanted to go. So it was just always wonderful. I never won, by the way. He always won, especially on the scratchers. That man can win some money. So that was always fun. And half the time I'm like, you just scratch him because you have better luck than me. But he's awesome. 4 years with him is certainly not enough. And I know some of you have known him longer years than me, and I've known him at least 10 years, but worked alongside him for 4 years, and it has been the best 4 years of my life. There has been nobody who is more true, more honest, more fair, more believing in his faith, more friendly, more loving, more giving. I can't think of all the positive words that you could think of about Mr. Hudson. That is it. I honestly don't have one negative thing that I could ever say about him. He's just been so generous and kind, and he's been a partner to me. I'm not just his administrative assistant. He has always treated me as an equal, and I am forever grateful for him and the experience that I got. I'm just sad that it had to be cut short. I'm thankful again for the family who allowed me to see Mr. Hudson and spend time with him and read to him. And we have given all the cards and emails, printed them and given them to the family. And the ones that could, they were all read to Mr. Hudson. And that was just nice to have, that they had decorated the whole hospital room full of all of those things. And it was just so heartwarming to see when I got to visit. And I just want to say thank you for all of you who have reached out and who have been so supportive to both me, to the family, to our school community. And thank you to our Marquette staff for taking care of me and reaching out to me and helping me. And I really, truly appreciate all of you. I mostly want to say, too, that one of the best things I loved about Carl is that he loved his mom. And we would have numerous conversations about his mom because I lost my mother as well. And it was just such a great thing. And he was the one person who always remembered. Like, I'd come to work and there'd be flowers or a card or something. Always remembered my mom's anniversary of her death. And it meant so much to me. And I just know that he loved his mom so much and his family as much so well that it warms my heart all the time, and I am happy to think that they are there in heaven together, side by side, watching over me. So, I love you, Mr. Hudson. Thank you for everything.
Hi, my name is Giselle Johnson. I was vice president of MACC, and Mr. Hudson, he was great, and I'm actually gonna miss him. Doesn't feel real, honestly. And I remember I met him my freshman year, and he begged me so hard to join MACC, and I would avoid him all the time. And I remember he gave me, I was on the 3rd floor, and he was like, "Are you hungry?" I was like, "Sure." It's my freshman year, and he gave me an entire bag of peanut M&Ms, and he was like, "Do great things today." I was like, "Thank you." And I'm going to read something from another member, Samuel Coppa. He couldn't be here with us today, but I'm going to read his thing for him. I would like to start off by sending my love and condolences to all those who have lost a loved one recently. Marquette has experienced so much loss in the past few weeks. From the incident with Marquette students that occurred just weeks ago to hearing the news about Mr. Hudson, this all feels surreal. Mr. Hudson was more than a principal at Marquette High School. He was a leader in the community and served as a role model for so many students at Marquette. Every day, he'd stand outside his office and make an effort to greet every student who passed by. A highlight of my day was walking down the third floor, fist bumping him, asking how his day was, and continuing to class. He was always enthralled with such a joy that was infectious to all. I finally remember having a bad day after not receiving the test score I wanted. He walked into the classroom and proceeded to crack jokes about MACC's past trip to Atlanta. His energy was so palpable and so welcoming. I cherished every moment with him, from our MACC trip to Atlanta to seeing him dance at the Winter Formal to just simply knowing he would always be there. Not only was he a principal, he was a leader of MACC, Marquette Academic Culture Club. MACC organizes a trip every year with Webster and Kirkwood High School. This trip was always fun with a focus of visiting HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. This trip opened my eyes to a new world of possibilities. HBCUs weren't on my radar, and this trip changed that. I felt the warmth and comfort of being on a campus where the majority of people looked like me. A couple years ago, he used his own money to pay for the bus for us to go to Atlanta because we didn't raise enough money with the winter dance. He was a caring soul and never wavered. He was always there. On top of being a student advocate, Mr. Hudson had a mission to make Marquette a more diverse and accepting environment, for he understood the importance of all students being able to see teachers and school leaders who look like them. He knew that when students of color are taught by teachers of color, they have better outcomes such as improved graduation rates and being more likely to attend college. So, he would go out of his way to try and recruit and interview people of color. There would be days she'd get emotional in MACC meetings talking about the state of diversity of our district and at Marquette. It brought tears to his eyes time and time again. Marquette needs diversity and inclusion. If there's a silver lining to his passing, may it be for the district to fulfill Mr. Hudson's hopes and dreams for Marquette to have a diverse, equitable, and inclusive environment. From the tears in Mr. Hudson's eyes to the tears in my eyes, I ask the community, the district, and the school to continue working to make Mr. Hudson's unwavering hope a reality. As we approach the Christmas season, stay safe and take care. Cherish your loved ones, for tomorrow is never guaranteed. Roho Hiaki Mfusiki Mahali Pema, which translates to may his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
I met Mr. Hudson my 10th grade year after a big fight I had on the bus, and he sat down and actually talked to me and actually got to know me, and since that day we've been really close. During this summer, Mr. Hudson taught me how to drive. We met up here every other Saturday, and he taught me how to drive in this parking lot right here. I remember he kept making me try to park, and I couldn't get it down packed. I couldn't get it down for nothing, and he kept making me do it so many times, and even after I got it one time, he made me do it again until I got it again. I was just like, again? He was like, yes, again. And then I was like, okay. Then I remember we finally got to drive out there on the street, and he was like, okay, we're about to go on the street. Stay in your lane. As soon as I got on the street, all you heard was beep, beep, beep. He was just like, it's okay, just stay calm. And then we pulled into the parking lot. He was like, I was like, I want to go again. He was like, no, we're just going to stick to the parking lot. Another memory I have with Mr. Hudson is we went to the skating rink for MACC. He sat out the whole time because he was so scared. I kept trying to tell him to come on, I would teach him. He was like, no, I think you're fine doing it on your own. Another thing I'm gonna miss is jamming in the car with him to gospel music. I'm gonna miss him always stopping at the Galleria to pick up some shoes he got shined, every weekend. I'm gonna miss always coming to the football games and running down to the gate just to speak to him. I'm gonna miss him always being there to talk to me. I'm gonna miss every morning coming into school and hearing him saying, good morning, Miss Alexander. Today's gonna be a good day. Every day, he just always called me Miss Alexander, Miss Alexander. Everybody by their last names. I'm I'm just gonna miss everything, to be honest. Mr. Hudson was like my second dad, a dad I actually never had. I called him my father. He called me his daughter. When I was talking to a boy, he met him and he was like, you know, this is my daughter. If you hurt her, I'm gonna get you. And the boy was just like, I'm not gonna do anything. So, yeah. I just want to say to Mr. Hudson, I love you, and I'm gonna miss you.
I do have this written out. I know Mr. Hudson didn't like when I would freewheel with that microphone, so he'd cringe every time I got on that microphone, the PA, or had a captive audience, and he was somewhere nearby because he knew I was going to say something about him. I would tell the students, don't knock too loud on Mr. Hudson's office door. He might be sleeping. I'd tell the parents, Mr. Hudson is Missouri's all-time leader in Friday detentions. And I'd tell the staff, if you want to find Mr. Hudson at 3:30, you need to be at the corner of Manchester and 141 and wave to him as he drove by on his way home. Mr. Hudson would walk up to me, laughing, and tell me, these people are starting to believe you. We all know no one believed me. Not because they knew I was joking, but because they knew Mr. Hudson. Everyone knew Mr. Hudson because he made it a point to know everyone he crossed paths with. Students, he knew what lunch shift you ate. And if you wanted to try and sneak a second lunch, you better not walk by his corner next to the school store. Parents, he knew what you were wearing at the Lindbergh tournament. So you better believe he knew what you yelled at the referee. And staff, yes, he remembered your room is sitting at 86 degrees on February 6th because he came down there 2 minutes after you emailed him. Oh, and Mr. Sheritz, he also knew you were showing the same movie you showed last year the day after the Super Bowl, and he's not sure what it had to do with engineering, but he always told me he would be doing the same thing if he was teaching the day after the big game. It wasn't that Mr. Hudson had a photographic memory. It was more that he took the time to get to know people. He was always late to things that did not really matter in the big picture, like teacher evaluation deadlines, beginning of the year trainings, and even our A-team meetings, because he chose to spend his energy and his time on the thing that mattered most to him, and that was people. I often joked about the big long line in his office. Rhonda knows this. That line was not there because his students were any sillier than my students, Dr. Ramsey's students, Dr. Spurgeon's students. His line was because he took the time to have a quality conversation with anyone, and I mean anyone who sat across his desks. Students, staff, and even me. Mr. Hudson and I had the most unique friendship. We were perfect foils for each other. I have dozens of stories that the two of us shared that I could share with all of you tonight. But selfishly, I'm not going to do that. I want to tell those stories individually over and over to people when they walk into my office so I can repeatedly laugh and smile at all the good times. I don't want to say them all at once tonight. I want to keep repeating them. His stories truly, truly never get old. But I will share one story where he got the joke on me. 4 years ago, I went over to Selvage Middle School, Dr. Anselmo, I see you out there, for lunch duty as a way for the students to start putting a name with a face. All the administrators took a day and went over there, Mr. Hudson too. Our football coach, I believe he went over there, maybe even a guidance counselor or two. It was just a great way to meet our future Mustangs. Well, as I was driving over to Selvage, I think right when I was pulling onto New Baldwin Road, my cell phone rings. So I pick it up. It's Mr. Hudson. I'm pulling in the parking lot at Selvage, and he's talking to me a little bit. Right before he hangs up, he says, "Mr. Regina, while you're at Selvage today, I hope there's a food fight. Sure enough, no lie, some student threw marinara from his toasted ravioli on another student. The red sauce splattered all over the wall. Fast forward 4 years later, and earlier this year, at the beginning of the school year, Mr. Hudson and I were talking to a senior and sharing how hard it is to believe how fast these 4 years have flown by. And I told that student, Mr. Hudson, right by my side, I said, I remember coming over when you guys were 8th graders and kids were throwing marinara sauce all over the place. Not only did the student remember that day and he was laughing about it, but he also told us that would not have happened if Mr. Hudson was there. Mr. Hudson got the last laugh that day. And you know what? No, it wouldn't have happened. There's a huge void at Marquette. There's a huge void in my heart. But I know Mr. Hudson will keep an eye on all of us because he now has the best seat in the house and he doesn't have to search around on those cameras. You better believe, Mr. Hudson, I will keep my foot on the gas, so you need to keep you on your toes. When I get an audience, I'm gonna make you laugh because I like seeing you smile, and I like to smile when I think of you. Mr. Hudson, I miss you. I love you. Thank you.